Miniature Market has thousands of board games at discounted prices. Click the direct link below to see all of those discounted games. Hello my friends, today we're going to a cafe in Paris because we're going to be going in there and redoing the floor to make it all beautiful. We'll bring more people in. Today we're taking a look at Intarsia. This is designed by Michael Kiesling, who's designed a million great games. Azul is probably one of his more popular ones. This one has some similarities as an abstract aspect, the weight of it to Azul, but it's still very different. Let me show you how this is played. I'll see you on the other side. In Intarsia, players are going to be making parquet floors in the cafe, and they're going to have different color rings on the outside, but then they're going to have a second level, a third level, and then possibly a table. If you look at this sideways, it's actually a table. And so this is sort of a table someone will be sitting around on a nice parquet floor. So you can be building these all on your own board. And I did want to point out the game comes with a really nice insert to keep all the components and colors and all those things separate. Each player has their own board with their own color on here. The boards are the same all on the A side, and then here everyone starts with a connector. This is important because you can only build off something touching the connector. Now you can see these are pre-built. This is the orange, the green, the purple, and the yellow. And as I showed you before, the inner parts of those are all the same, sort of brownish for all of them, but this shows you what color you're going to be able to build there. Your turn is very simple. You're going to basically play cards to place pieces. Now here's the 4 different colors, and there's a wild. You have a handful of cards at the beginning of the game. So for example, I might play 1 card of purple to play 1 purple outer frame, since it's think of it as like the level 1, the first part of it only costs 1 card. That'll be the next player's turn. Now let's say it's my next turn. I could play, for example, 2 of these cards, 2 purple, because I want to build into this purple one. Now if I'm able to do that, I'm able to place this like this inside. Now, for color blindness, that icon matches the icon in the middle, so they have different icons that makes it easier to see for color blindness. Now that cost me 2 cards. Now when you start building level 2s and 3s like that, you actually get to pick up cards after you play them. So I played 2 purple, and because I played 2, I get to take 1 less. So I get to take 1 green, orange, or yellow. You can't take a wild this way, and you cannot take the same color. So I might say I'll take an orange. So let's say my next turn, I'm gonna play that orange, and I'm gonna place it here, because again, it is next to that connector. I can do so. Now let's say I want to play level 3 here. I could play 3 purples, but I can also play a purple, a wild. Any 2 cards is a wild. So I could spend those 3 cards, and because I spent 3 cards, I'll get -1 back, so I'll get 2 back. Again, not of purple and not of wild, but this allows me to sort of put this in there like that. Now notice this, I have a level 3 of purple done. There is a board with a certain amount of tiles being amount of players, and I come to purple, and I have a purple level 3. I actually have done this. So at the end of my turn, I can get it. It's going to get me 2 points, but also notice the tool here. Now that is going to get me 2 points on this track here. And also notice these are limited, and there's a certain amount depending on the players. So after the second player gets this, there's no more left. This was actually a 4-player game, and the points go down most of the time on these. Now, I would have to play 4 purple cards, or 4 cards as the way I showed before, to place the table. Now, when I place the table, this allows me to move this marker 1 or 2 in this direction and get it. So I get 2 of the same cards and 1 different, or 3 purple. Let's take the 3 purple. On my next turn, I'm going to play those 3 purple and a wild, so 4, another 4 if you will, and I'm going to play a connector. Again, this is going to help me now because now I can build off here. I can now build in anything touching a connector. Now also, just like when you build the table, when you build a connector, you move this 1 or 2, in this case I could take 2 equals and 1 different. So that's when you build the 2 harder things, you get these extra rewards. Now another thing you're doing is you're thinking about this, because at the end of the game, depending on whether you built a 1, 2, 3, or 4 level sort of part of the floor, you're going to get 1, 3, 7, or 12 points. Also, players are going to keep playing until everyone passes. Once everyone passes, at the end of the first round, each connector is going to be worth 1. Then you go to the second round. At the end of the second round, they're worth 2. At the end of the round, they're worth 3. And then this is all end game scoring. Now I built this connector because I was starting to build. Now remember, this one I had at one point 2 orange level 1 tiles, and that did score me 1 point. However, now let's say at this point I've built 2 level 2 orange tiles. I take that. Now notice it's from the same tool type, so I get to score this and everything else that was from the school type, that tool type. Think of Azul the way that you compound the scoring if you're able to build up that combo. Now you cannot build the same one twice, so I couldn't build this one, but let's say later in the game I'm able to build this. I'm going to get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points when I build it. So that's sort of how the scoring works. And again, at the end of the round, once everyone passes, you go to the next round. At the end of the third round, you add up all the points for everything you have here. Of course, at each end of the rounds, you're doing these, 1, 2, or 3 points for every connector. So at the end of the game, you're going to add these up, and whoever has the most points is the winner. Now, I mentioned your starting card. You're going to get one of these cards at the beginning of the game that's going to give you which card you start the game with. But when you pass, if you have cards that you don't want to play or you just want to pass, when you pass, you're out of the round. Now, when the beginning of the next round happens, players are going to be drafting these again to give you your starting cards for that round. There's also the B side that makes it harder. Now here, you cannot build on these connectors. So you can build this connector and you can build all the other ones, but you can't. Now also, the connectors on this side, instead of having browns, they have colors. So you need to use those 4 cards to get those connectors out. And you can't build these, but if you build all around these, you get 10 points. So that's all of these and all the connectors touching it. So it just makes it a lot harder. Okay, let's first talk about what I like about this and my biases. First of all, Michael Kiesling, probably one of my favorite designers. I just think he makes really good, streamlined games that don't have a lot of fat on them. They tend to have some abstract natures to them, some short-term and long-term play. He's just one of my favorites, so that's my bias coming in. This game is beautiful art and production and table presence. I mean, the boards look beautiful, the pieces look beautiful, they feel beautiful, nice wooden pieces, and it just looks awesome. The game just stands out from a table presence perspective. Michael Kiesling, streamlined rules, you can bet that's here. Easy rules, tons of depth. It's like, play some cards, place a piece, maybe draw some more cards. That's it. That's it. That's the mechanisms of the game, but there's so much to think about, much like Azul. So many different things that you can think about here, probably even more things to think about than Azul. I would say this is crunchier than Azul is, but I wouldn't say it's harder to teach than Azul is. It's just more to chew on. I mean, play cards, play a piece. That's pretty much it. Now, I like that you're drawing cards of different colors when placing. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna drop 3 cards for this purple. I get to draw 2 cards. I can't draw it wild, I can't draw purple. It's just, it makes you pivot. It makes you like work on multiple things, which is what you need to do anyways, because if you're trying to be efficient and get a lot of the points and get the same tool types, you're going to have to do different things. So you're like doing this to set yourself up for this, to set yourself up for that. You can bounce back and forth between 2 colors, or you can go to a 3rd color. It just depends on what's there, what other people are doing. You're constantly looking at what other people are doing. You're looking at how many tiles are there. The game is not as mean as Azul, where like, I'm gonna purposely take this tile because this one doesn't even help me, but you are gonna be totally hosed. It's not as aggressively mean like that, but it can be like, oh, they're going for that, I'm gonna go get that before them, right? But you can kind of see what people are going for and what they possibly could get and which cards they're taking at the beginning, and you have a better idea of what's gonna happen there. But you are fighting for things. It's not just like, let's just look at my board and not care what other people are doing. There's a lot of indirect interaction where you've got to figure out what other people are doing, because you don't want to be working on something where the 2 people ahead of you are going to take the tiles for the one that you're wanting, and then it's not going to be there when you get there. You've got to be able to look and see and plan based upon what other people do, and I love that. I like that you're getting bonuses for the X-frame and the table. So it's like you're trying to time. It's like, that part reminded me a lot of like one of the Azuls, the pavilion one, where you're waiting for the right time to build the frame or the table. Maybe not just because you want one of those tiles, but if you've got a little time, you want to wait for someone else to push that so that you can get the cards that you want. Or sometimes like you're ready to build it, and you're like, oh, please don't do that. Please don't push that. Please don't push that. You're like, whew, there's some tension there. You're like, okay, good. They didn't do an extra on the table. Now I can get the cards I want. That's only 1 space away that they probably would have taken from me. I like that. The scoring tiles, they have very specific placements. I love the cascading scoring where you're trying to do the same thing, but that's hard to do. So you're trying to like set yourself up to give yourself a lot of options and then go for the things that when the opportunity presents itself, and you're gonna need to try to combo some stuff if you want to try to win, and I like that aspect of it. This does feel Azul like that scoring aspect where like you place a tile early, like 1 point. You place another tile later, it's like 1, 2 points. And then later, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great, stuff like that. This feels like that as you get towards the end of the game, you're scoring more and more, and that's really fun. I like that there's a limited amount of tiles per player count, so it makes it feel very tight. And yeah, it's very different from Azul. But from a weight perspective, it's similar. It's less mean, but it is crunchier. There's just a lot of things going on there.
I don't have a lot of negative things to say here. I'm really going to be reaching here. Number one, there's no player aid for when you play a certain amount of cards, you get a certain amount of cards. Now I get it. Halfway through the first game, you don't even have to look at that anymore. It's like, I play 1, I get nothing. If I play 2, you get 1 less, right? If I play 2, I get 1 card. If I play 3, I get 2 cards. If I play 4, I get the special things. It's really, halfway through your first game, you don't have it. But I am surprised it's not there for a first-time player. Again, I'm really reaching here because the game's amazing. The other thing is, like in a 4-player game, there is a decent amount of setup where you got to find all the right tiles and put them in the right things, and then you got to put them in highest scoring from top to down. Not a huge thing, but it does take a little bit to set up. Again, minor nitpick here, and I mean that's pretty much it, folks. This is a fantastic game. If you liked Azul and you like the abstract nature of things, and you like Michael Kiesling's designs, this is a home run. This one would have made my top 10 most anticipated games at Gen Con, but it wasn't on the preview list. And I talked to the publisher at Pegasus Spiel at Gen Con, like, we didn't think it was going to make it. I'm like, next year, if you have something this awesome, like, and you think it might not make it, still put it on the list for sale. You think it's going to make it, and if you find out later it doesn't, the day before, change it to demo only, because it doesn't make our lists if it doesn't do that. This would have made my top 10 of anticipated of Gen Con. And absolutely, it probably would have been 2-ish around there. And I could say that not only did it actually meet my expectations, it actually exceeded. This game's amazing. For all those reasons, it's staying in my gaming library. It's getting Saxophone Serenade. Let's hit it.
Game Toppers upgrades every game you play, and their 4.5 Kickstarter introduced the new Galactic Minecraft and Watson Game Toppers with interchangeable rail inlays, as well as new game mats, miniature gaming terrain packs, leg kit options, dining covers, accessories, and amazing package deals. The campaign recently ended, but it's not too late to pledge late at GameToppersLLC.com.